My biggest piece of advice is to start small, right? Learn every facet of the business. Again, we did do property management in the beginning. I learned how to renovate certain things myself as well, right? It gave me a good basis on cost, on what things should cost, how much labor should go in. Underwriting is the most important part. The numbers. Learn how to underwrite, create your own models, or get a model and start putting things through. But really understand the financials before you dive in. And then
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to Weiss Advice. This is Yona Weiss. I'm your host, and joining me today is the one and only Zamir Kazi. What's going on, Zamir?
what's up, Yona? How are you? Thank you for having me on the show. I've been watching a lot of your podcast, and I'm a huge fan. So happy to be here.
Well, it's always good to have a fan on the show. Appreciate that, Zamir. We just found out this is your first podcast appearance.
This is my first podcast appearance. I'm happy to have you break my cherry.
So, so for anyone listening to this who also has a podcast, reach out to Zamir. He's going to be a sought after podcast guest after this episode, hopefully, and and we'll see. We'll take it from there. Just to give a little background. Zamir is a multifamily investor. Believe it or not, we've had a bunch of them on the show before, but he's the CEO at Berkshire Property Holdings. He's got an incredible vertical going on where these guys are just buying up large multifamily buildings, Texas, Florida, Georgia. Where else? Any other markets?
Carolinas,
Arizona. They're all over the place. So look out for them. They're up and coming, doing a lot of work. They got putting a lot of deals under contract. And Zamir, give us a little background. Give us a little. How'd you get into real estate?
Yeah, so funny story. Started buying real estate back in 2012. Started off with a $20,000 duplex in Lakeland, Florida. I needed to get a thermostat and a water heater changed, and a plumber quoted me like $300. So I decided to go on YouTube and learn how to do it myself, and then proceeded to figure out how to fix cabinet doors and fix holes in walls. And I've never painted in my life, painted the insides, bought a spray painter, did the outsides, so learned how to renovate myself, sold that, bought the one next door to that for 20,000 and bought the one next door. And then, the rest is history. We started moving up and started buying quadplexes, eightplexes. And the largest deal we did was almost 700 units. So, we organically grew from really nothing. And, I love what we do.
That's awesome. So you guys are doing property management as well in-house?
No, we don't manage our own properties. I used to. So we used to manage up until maybe when we had about 500 units. But without the economies of scale, it didn't really make sense for us, and especially since our portfolio is so scattered geographically. We decided to use third-party management. So we will just find the best third-party managers in that market and let them run with it, and then we focus on the asset management more so.
Awesome. And what would you say is your, the biggest advice to someone like yourself who's getting into real estate, starting small and then scaling? Because you've scaled, pretty large, and not only property, but also in a team.
Yeah. So I think my biggest piece of advice is to start small, right? Learn every facet of the business. Again, we did do property management in the beginning. I learned how to renovate certain things myself as well, right? It gave me a good basis on cost, on what things should cost, how much labor should go in. Underwriting is the most important part. The numbers. Learn how to underwrite, create your own models, or get a model and start putting things through. But really understand the financials before you dive in. And then as far as building the team goes, it's just finding good talent, which is the hardest part of building a team, right? So you got to go out there and try to find the people that most are that complement your weaknesses, right? So
Right.
find people that complement things that you're not good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've done that, I mean, pretty successfully, I'd say.
Thank you.
What? Yeah, well, I mean, and you're still growing. So under these market conditions, where I just got off the phone with someone today who was telling me he's not sure about buying about properties. What's going to be? Maybe there's going to be a downturn. Maybe there's going to be a market turn. Uh, what are you seeing?
I'd say I've probably talked to maybe 100 different capital groups and sponsors over the last 2 months, and it's a mixed bag. Most people are, especially equity right now, they're pencils down. They want to wait and see what happens, which is understandable. And then there's a group of people that say, look, we think that this is a good time to buy because there's going to be less competition in the waters, and ultimately the people that are hit the most are going to be office, retail, hospitality, right? I
Right.
think multifamily, with not only us but everyone across the board, we collected in April about 95% of our rents. May we collected 96% of our rents. June we did about 98% of our rents. So our collections have been remained strong. But moving forward, we are underwriting a little bit differently, right? So we're not assuming any rent growth over the next year to 18 months. So 0 to negative percentage
Hmm.
on the first 18 months. We're also assuming that there's going to be no capex or rent bumps over the next 18 months either. So rents have to stay flat, and we're also increasing our vacancy. So if all those check out, then we'll do a deal. We're still looking because I think competition will get heavier from the people moving in from other asset classes. So
Right.
right now might be a good time to find deals where the competition isn't so heavy.
All right. And where would you say is somewhere that competition is not as heavy without spreading the word to the competition?
Well, I think just all across the board right now, if deals come online, whereas you had 25 to 50 buyers submitting offers, now the group's down to 10. So people are still offering, albeit I think that everyone's looking for a COVID discount right now,
Right. It's
which
not really happening.
it's not happening really. You are seeing a little bit of discount between 3 to 5% on list price if it was before COVID, but the bid ask spread is still so wide where the seller is not accepting any hit on their sales price, and the buyers do want a discount right now. So I think again the opportunities to find deals are probably a little bit better just because the competition is low everywhere, right? I had a buddy put a deal on the market in Dallas, and I think they only had five people to make offers. So the it's easier to go out and separate yourself right now, especially for a sponsor that is just getting started, where your track record might not be as strong as these other big players that have 500 million, $1 billion under management. So this is a good time, I think, to separate yourselves from other people.
So you guys are driving full speed ahead.
We're gung ho. We have 2 deals right now under contract in the Dallas market. It's a portfolio deal for 50 million bucks, than our all-in basis. But we really like the deal. It underwrites to almost a 6 cap going in Dallas, which is it's a great market. So
Yeah, that's unheard
with
of almost.
yeah, exactly. So it's rates are historically low. We feel like even if the market does correct, which it is right, and things get worse, we'll still be in a pretty good position to make some money on the deal.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's great. If I could ask you one thing that, looking back 10 years ago, right? 8 years ago, when you first got it started in the, the small multifamily duplexes, if you could, go back to that guy who was just starting out and give him one piece of advice, what would you tell him?
I would have learned how to syndicate deals, and
Not just use your own cash.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't know structure. I didn't come from a real estate background. There weren't a lot of podcasts like these around back then, and so if I would have known, is figure out how to syndicate deals, put together a syndicate so I could do bigger deals going in, because especially during that time of the cycle, you could have closed your eyes and put your finger on a map and made money. So had I known to do some bigger deals,
Mhm.
that would have been probably something I would advise myself now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And now you guys are raising funds, right? So it's something different than a traditional syndication.
Yeah, so we actually moved from self-capitalizing our deals, then syndicating deals with friends and family. We ended up exhausting all of our friends and family's money. So from there, we went institutional, and now we're in the middle of raising our own fund. So, just to have our own discretionary capital and be able to pull the trigger whenever we want is the way forward. Especially, I think right now, on the one side, it's hard to raise money in this environment,
Yeah.
right? But B, if you have dry powder right now, I think it'll go a long way. I do think that there will be some deals, to come over the next 6 to 12 months, and we'd like to be ready to go when that comes.
So what kind of creative ways right now are you finding capital through raising through this fund that
It's just
weren't doing beforehand?
we're right now. It's just we really got to hustle. I think the most important part is it's tough to make new relationships with equity providers.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that are doing deals with sponsors that they've worked with before
Right.
and have extensive history with. So, for our portfolio deal, we had to raise 25 million bucks. We had to bring in different family offices. It was four different groups to put the money together, but it was all groups that we'd worked with in the past. So any new equity partners that we try to work with, they're just like, look, if we are going to do something, it's going to be with groups that we've worked with.
Awesome. No, that's good. And so what would you say is the one thing that kind of puts you ahead of the pack? Obviously you're younger than a lot of the sponsors out there, have a lot of fresh blood, but in your opinion, what's one thing that puts you ahead of the pack?
I think being younger than everybody else has its advantages and disadvantages, but I think, look, we try to get as creative as possible. I think we roll up our sleeves, get our hands dirty. Not only are we trying to get broker deals, but we do everything we can to get off market deals. We try to stay involved with all the other ownership groups out there and just become friendly with everyone and build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a relationship driven business. So that we just work really hard, and I know a lot of guys work hard too. But I also, for all the younger people out there that might be listening, I do think the other ownership groups, having been to where we are today, they look up to that and they kind of can relate to some of the things that we're going through. So I think that also people want to help. And if you go out and ask for help, a lot of people are willing. So don't be afraid to go out and ask.
That's awesome. I thought you were going to say, it's the fact that you're like, a head and shoulders taller than everyone else. I mean, you're like what, like 7 feet tall? Like, how tall are you?
6'7".
6'7". I don't know. I met when we met in Orlando. I was not expecting that.
That's everyone's reaction as soon as I get out of a car or stand up. Everyone's like, "Whoa!" I should put it on my business card.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could have played in the NBA, but instead you went going property hopping, property buying. So that's incredible. I appreciate your insights here. And it sounds like you got a good thing going for you. Continued success with that. I want to jump right into the final four over here, Zamir. So the first question I have for you: what's the worst job that you ever had?
Worst job I ever had was probably I was a server at Red Lobster, coming right out of high school. It was in Tallahassee. On one side, I'm really happy I had a job, but it wasn't. We had to. We were short staffed. I had to do the dishes, and I wasn't just a server. So that's probably the worst part.
So what was
Come a
what was
long
the
way
good thing?
since
What was the good
watching.
thing about it?
Huh?
So what was the good thing about it? What are you grateful for?
Good thing is, you learn how to work long hours, but I think the best thing is just being able how to talk to people, know how to talk to people, and talk to different types of people. I think again, it helps relationship wise and communication and sales, right? I think I'm a firm believer that everything you do in life is a sale one way or another, right? You're convincing someone to do something. It helped me a lot on that side of things.
Awesome. So don't downgrade, any type of job. Whatever you do, you got to learn something from and get something from. So I like that. Second question, what's a book you've read that's given you a paradigm shift?
One book I think that really, of several, but one book that really shifted my way of thinking is The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Mm-hmm.
just as far as outsourcing things and not trying to do everything yourself, and obviously I don't work 4 hours a week, but uh,
Right.
I think a lot of us come from this thinking that you have to kill yourself, right? We really don't. And take some time to enjoy the other things in life that matter. But really, yeah, just outsourcing, and it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier, that surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and better at things that you're not good at. So that really did help change my
Yeah,
shift in thinking.
definitely. No, that's huge. That book is total paradigm shift. And again, I don't know that many people that are actually working 4 hours a week, but the point, obviously the points in the book are, hit home very strong when it comes to how to manage your time and
Yeah.
do what you can do, and give responsibility to others that can do for you. So let's move on to the third question, which is, what's a skill or talent that you would like to learn?
I think something that I'd really like to learn would be online marketing, digital marketing, right? Get good at Facebook advertising,
Hmm.
you know, more like where LinkedIn Pro, and just get good at Google Ads and design kind of stuff. And I'd like to get good at it, but that's one of those things that I find people that are really good at and don't really have necessarily the time to focus on those things. But I'd really like to. Those are things that I'd like to focus on.
Yeah, no, there's definitely there's power in that, especially this day and age. Yeah, there's so much power in using Google and using media and social media. But yeah, again, you gotta gotta go back to the 4 hour work week and see
Absolutely.
what you can do. There are people that are experts, there are people that do it, and you can hire them to do it, but there's still something when it comes to doing it yourself that adds a little more especially when it comes to social media, like doing a personal touch to it.
Agreed. It's been a project of mine over this actually during since quarantine started. I've been spending a few hours a week just watching videos and reading up on social media, especially. So hopefully, soon I'll be a professional.
Just got to do it. Just hit the post button.
Yeah, I gotta be a content master like you.
Oh man. Okay. Fourth and final question. What does success mean to you?
Success to me means freedom, just to have the freedom to do whatever you want, right? Be able to go on vacation for 2 months, or whatever, just to be able to pick up and go anywhere that we'd like to. And I think the business that we're in kind of helps you can do it from anywhere,
Yeah.
and especially if you put the right people, you surround yourself with the right people. And yeah, if I had the freedom for the rest of my life, and didn't matter how much I made, but passive income gives you that freedom,
Yeah.
especially for those looking to invest in real estate. So yeah, just to be able to pick up and do whatever I want to whenever I want to would be success.
That's awesome. And you're well on the way, if not there already. So continued success for you. And where can our listeners find you or reach out to you or find more about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. My handle is Zamir Kazi, or our website, www.berkshirepropertyholdings.com. My email's on there. If you guys want to reach out, feel free anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zamir. This has been a true pleasure. It's been wonderful. I hope you get on many more podcasts because of this. Get to share your story and reach out and find a lot more opportunities through this means, because it's a great means. It really does
Yeah,
helps a lot of
it
people.
was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. Hopefully, when things kind of get back to normal, I'd be able to see you at a conference again one day.
Yeah, one of these days, hopefully, maybe this year, maybe next year, who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
just we'll continue the Zoom thing. But until next time, to our listeners, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. There's some gold nuggets dropped over here. And, remember, the best advice comes only when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn, send me a DM, a connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.